What is going on, everybody? We're back with some more Marvel Snap, and today we're going to do what I've done for other games, kind of called a Let's Talk video. It's kind of just going to be me with a stream of consciousness and opinions and thoughts. Not so much gameplay oriented. There's not going to be a ton happening on your screen, so I mean, if you don't really want to watch, feel free to just minimize or start playing a game in another window. It's really just going to be a discussion-based video. In this video, the discussion topic is going to be around progression in Marvel Snap. And now, I specifically will be talking about progression in the post-pool, or I guess I call them series now, post-Series 3 world, so specifically in Series 4 and 5. But some of these topics do kind of spread throughout the collection track. I'm just of the personal opinion that, in general, Series 1 through 3 goes pretty well, and Series 4 and 5 could use a little bit of work. So let's lay down some, I don't want to say ground rules, but kind of what I believe are fundamental philosophies of Snap's design. The first being they want progression to be slow. It is intentional. I know a lot of people are not used to that from card games. A lot of card games, you just start boom, 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 boom. You get a ton of cards, you get all the cards really quickly, and then you just go start playing with whatever card you want. You want a different card, you craft that card. Snap is intentionally not that way. Now, obviously, you're free to agree, disagree, like, dislike that. That's your opinion. But I do believe that is a fundamental philosophy behind Snap, that they want your progression to be intentionally slow. And that means a lot of their actions are going to be towards making sure your progression stays on the slower side. Now, this next piece is a fact. It's an unfortunate fact for game designers, but specifically in the CCG world, the interaction with your game, so you know how often players log in, how often players play the game, how much time they spend playing the game, which are all very important metrics for game health. If Second Dinner were to try and get, investors, these are the kinds of metrics that they'd be looking at. All of those gameplay metrics and player community metrics, they plummet the second players achieve a complete collection, which is very weird to me. I've never stopped playing a card game because I had all of the cards, but I've worked on card games before. I've been kind of deeply involved in multiple card games, and talking to all of the developers, and even seeing the data from these developers shows that when players achieve a full collection, their interaction with your game plummets. So I think Snap tried to address that kind of, I'm going to call it a fatal flaw, but again, it's your opinion on whether it's a flaw or not, that flaw in the system by making it so that you kind of always have at least a carrot or two to be chasing. Snap is now releasing, I think, upwards of an average of one card per week. So you'll have one new card from Seasons, and then one new card should get added around every week after that. So we kind of do have constant carrots to be chasing, especially with the lack of a crafting system in the game. So I just wanted to kind of level set that level of progression is intentional. So that does not mean I think everything is perfect right now. I think pools 1 through 3 go pretty well. I do, and I've had discussions with other people about this, and I think it's a completely fair concern. New players joining the game, maybe not even so much now because it's so early on, but if you join Snap next year, kind of trying to catch up from pools 1 through 3 and then getting into pools 4 and 5, that is a daunting task, and that is a lot. So they will almost definitely need some tweaks in the future for new players. And I know the developers have talked about, over time, as the card pool swells, dropping cards from pool 5 to 4, 4 to 3, 3 to 2, and so on, which will actually speed up the rate at which new players catch up, because the rate at which you acquire cards kind of gets multiplicatively, I don't even know if that's a word, slower each pool you go up. So if I took 20 pool 3 cards and just kicked them into pool 2 today, the rate at which you acquire all these cards would go that much faster. You'd still have to play and get the resources to move up the collector track, but it would move up. So I'm glad that that's on their radar. I don't want to comment on that until I see how it works in action to see if it is enough or if they need to do more. But moving into pools 4 and 5 is where things get a little froggy, because pools 1 through 3, you have your normal percentage chance to get a card in every, I don't know what all the names are, caches, crates, the boxes. You have a percentage chance to get a card in each box. You have a pity timer where you will go no more than X boxes without pulling a card. That, I think, is a very good system. You can get lucky, and even if you get unlucky, you're still going to get all of your cards by a certain number. And I think that works pretty well. The thing that gets a little bit weird to me is in pools 4 and 5, that number kind of goes very high. I think the number that we've seen from the developers is 1 out of every 40 boxes will have a card. And that is not a, like, I can pull a bunch of cards if I get really lucky. It is like, take a group of 40 boxes, one of those 40 has a card. The next 40 boxes, one of those 40 has a card. And that is no matter what. Which means if I pull a card on my first box, and then the next batch I get a card on my last box, you're going, 78 boxes in between cards? So I think that needs to be tweaked a little bit. That's my first suggestion to updating progression and to kind of make things feel a little bit better. I would rework the pity system so that it is no less than 1 in 40, meaning you can get lucky and get cards at a rate of more often than 1 in 40. I don't even care if the percent chance to pull a card is like 2% or 1%, whatever it is. But I don't think you should be going almost 100 boxes without a card, even if they are guaranteed after that time. I just think it's kind of one of those mental hurdles for players. So I would change it to no less than 1 in every 40 boxes, no matter what. And I would also add it so that you could potentially get a little bit lucky and pull, 2 in a pack of 40 if you got really lucky. That's the main change that I would make to the collector track portion of collecting. And I think that would be my only change to the collector track for now, because I have other changes that are really one other main change that I would make. But I think the collector track in general works pretty decently. I know a lot of people hate having boosters on here, and I understand it, but they're also a part of the game economy, so they are what they are. But I think changing the pity timers for Series 4 and 5, I think would go a pretty long way on that front. And then the other main thing that I would like to see is, and I guess we should go into the shop first to talk about it. We've got collector's tokens that were introduced. You can pull them from boxes where you don't get cards on the collector's track. Right now, that is the only source of getting collector's tokens in this game, besides the occasional bundle. I guess that's another change I should talk about. I think moving forward, basically every single bundle that they sell in this game should contain some level of collector's tokens. They almost always contain credits. I think they should also contain collector's tokens, even if it's not a ton of them. I think they should always contain some level of collector's tokens, even if it's this bundle where it's like a 1 to 3 rate to credits. Like if this contained 500 collector's tokens, I think this becomes a much greater value. This is one of the first bundles in this game that I didn't buy. Not that I don't think the price to what you get is there. I just did not think that this was worth purchasing for me. Like if this had an extra batch of collector's tokens, I probably would have pounced on it. The price to credits with the variants and stuff is there. I really like both of these variants a lot. What I wanted was not there in that bundle. It was in this bundle. Like I like this Apocalypse. The credits were already worth the money. The boosters were pretty cool. It was an added bonus. And then the collector's tokens were a huge boom. So I know everyone complained about this bundle, and I have a second Let's Talk video planned about monetization in this game. But for me, I thought this was actually quite an enticing offer, whereas this one, while fair, doesn't excite me, so I didn't spend the money. But I digress. I think all bundles should contain collector's tokens of some level, some amount, even if not all of them are a ton. I think it should be tied to kind of the amount of credits you get. Should be about maybe a third of the credits you should get in collector's tokens. Maybe they need to tweak the value, but I think we need more areas of getting collector's tokens. But I don't think that should be the only extra place to get collector's tokens, because your next point, and I can already hear it in the comments section, is if the only extra spot to get collector's tokens are on all these bundles, then all the people who are spending money are going to have a massive advantage. Again, a lot of that is going to kind of cover topics that I talk about in that other Let's Talk video, where Marvel Snap actually is one of the least beneficial games to spend money in, which I think is great for free-to-play players. But we're going to put that aside. I think, and this is my final major change, I think the season passes in the future need to contain collector's tokens of some level, some amount. I don't know off the top of my head. I haven't really done some number crunching on how much I think would be a fair value to include in here. I would maybe do something like 500 collector's tokens, maybe even less, but 500 collector's tokens on the free path, and maybe an additional 500 to 1,000 on the paid path for the season pass. And I think that would be a really nice additional benefit to purchasing the season pass, would be that extra, 1,000 collector's tokens per month. That's, a third of a Season 4 card, a sixth of a Series 5 card, so you're not, super advancing the rate at which you acquire cards, but it's just giving you an extra bonus to buy a card that you want, in addition to your regular leveling up. And I know you get credits from the season passes that can go towards getting collector's tokens, but I do think that now that collector's tokens are a currency, they need to be included on the season pass. And if you are going to include them on the season pass, I think you need to do some sort of split where the free track gets at least a little bit, and then the paid track would get a little bit more. But just so that you can kind of give a little bit to both pools of players. I'm going to give this season a pass because I think the timing of this season dropping with that patch that included collector's tokens was kind of very close to each other, so I don't know if they necessarily had the time to make those tweaks. And also they had to see this kind of new collection or new process in action, because the biggest thing in card games, especially when it comes to economy, it's better to start on the lower end and ramp it up to more rewarding than to start on the more rewarding end and need to dial it back. The reasoning for that is, and this was a huge problem in the Elder Scrolls Legends, which is where I came from, when Twitch drops first came out in Legends, they were super rewarding. They were dropping legendary cards and tons of gold and, all this stuff. And it was so rewarding, it permanently damaged the economy, where whenever a new expansion came out, basically everyone could buy the entire expansion and craft all of the cards for free, and then the need to pay money in that game for the rest of that game's life went out the window. Now, I know a lot of people, again, we're going to talk about all that economy stuff in that other video, but I know a lot of people would be like, oh, well, that's great, free-to-play gets all this stuff forever. Games need to keep the lights on, they need to make some money, but we'll talk about that again later. So I always tend to, and I know it sucks for players to initially see because it doesn't feel great, but I tend to lean towards be cautious with your economy and make it more rewarding if you see that it's not really hitting the mark. And Snap has done that before, and I have faith that they'll do it again if they, get enough constructive criticism on this new collecting process. So yeah, really long-winded way of saying, I think I'm going to give this season a pass, no pun intended, of no collector's tokens on this pass track because they were just releasing a new system at the same time. But starting next pass, if not next pass, definitely the pass after, I would like to see collector's tokens included in the season pass. So that way, theoretically, if you are a paid season pass player and you finish the season pass every month, I think it's reasonable to say that every 3 to 4 months you should be able to purchase a CG Series 5 card of your choice as a bonus. I think that is what I would expect from the credits you'd get from this. So we'd say about 1,500 to 2,000 collector's tokens per path per month, which would mean every 3 to 4 months you could buy an additional card, which doesn't get you that far ahead of the curve, but still kind of keeps feeling rewarding. So yeah, those are my changes that I would make to the progression system. I think in general, it's actually in quite a good spot. I know a lot of people don't think it feels great, but I like that feeling of chasing new cards, getting a new card, experimenting with it a ton for a couple weeks, and then you get that new card and you do it again. I just think we need to tweak a couple minor knobs to make it feel really good. So yeah, just kind of a TLDW, didn't watch progression changes I'd like to see. Rework the pity system for pools 4 and 5. Add collector's tokens to all bundles that are in the store moving forward, both paid dollar bundles and gold bundles. And add collector's token to the season pass, and I think that would make this new system feel really, really good moving forward, and would kind of make it feel like you're still getting cards at a decent rate while not being able to completely finish your collection every single month. That's all I got for my kind of stream of consciousness. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. I know a lot of you guys are going to disagree with a lot of what I just said, but all I ask is call me an idiot if you want, but as you guys are discussing in the comment section, just be kind to one another. Obviously, nobody's going to agree on everything, but I think one of the best things about specifically what I've seen on my channel is people can usually disagree without, needing to fight about it. And I love that. I love discourse where you can be, where I can disagree with you, but we can still respect each other and kind of have that conversation. But yeah, that's all I got for now, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Consider subscribing to the channel if you are new, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.